Hello class. This video is going to focus on 1.3 line segments. The goal of this video is I can apply the definition of congruent line segments to find missing values. And you want to open your textbook to page 22, which is where you will begin taking notes. So we have a key concept, which is congruent segments. This is the first time we are hearing about congruent segments in this class. So we have this equal sign with a little squiggly over it, that is red, is congruent to. So anytime we want to say something is congruent to something else, we use that symbol. And then if you notice on my two segments that I have, the two blue segments, they have little red slashes. Well, maybe they're pink, but it says red. So red slashes on the figure, and those red slashes indicate that those two segments are congruent. So segment AB is congruent to segment CD, and anytime segments are congruent, they have the same measure. Okay, we're going to do some examples. So this is on page 24 in your book. So we want to find the measure of the segment. So we want to find the measure of MO. So that is this large segment. So we know that they tell us MN is 4.6, and they have the little red slashes, which means that they are congruent. So that means NO is also 4.6 centimeters. So in order to find the total, we're going to do the measure of MN plus the measure of NO, and that is equal to the measure of MO. So that's the betweenness that we learned in the last video. So we know MN is 4.6. We know that NO is 4.6. And if we add those together, that will give us MO. So 4.6 plus 4.6 is 9.2, and they are centimeters. Okay, so MO, the measure of MO is 9.2 centimeters. Okay, this is number 32. So again, we're on page 24, and we want to find the measure of DE. So we want to find this measure. So we have the congruent tick marks, the little red marks. So we know that segment CD is congruent to segment DE. And that means they have to be the same measure. So if they are the same measure, then we can set them equal to each other. So we can say that CD, the measure of CD, is equal to the measure of DE. And you notice I did not use my segment marks over CD and DE. That is because whenever I'm talking about the segments, that means that they're congruent. But if I'm talking about their measures, then they're equal. So I'm going to take what I know about CD. So I know CD is 2x plus 7. And I'm going to set it equal to DE. And I know DE is 4 times the quantity x minus 3. Okay, so now we're going to solve these equations. So in order to solve, the first thing I need to do is distribute. So I'm going to take the 4, which is outside of the parentheses, and multiply it by the stuff inside the parentheses. So I have 4 times x, which is 4x. And then 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. And then the other side is just going to come down. Okay, so now I have an equation that I can solve. So I'm going to start by getting the x's together. So I'm going to move the 4x to the other side by subtracting. So 2x minus 4x is negative 2x. 7, the plus 7 comes down. 4x minus 4x cancels out. And then I have negative 12 left. Now I'm going to move 7 to the other side. So I do that by subtracting because that's the opposite. So minus 7 on both sides. And negative 2x comes down. 7 minus 7 cancels out. And then negative 12 minus 7 is negative 19. And then last step is divide both sides by negative 2. And so I get x equals positive 19 over 2. Except for they didn't ask us to find x, they asked us to find DE. So in order to find DE, I need to take my answer for x and substitute it. So I know DE equals 4 times the quantity, x is 19 over 2, minus 3. And then I'm going to use my calculator. And I'm going to do all of this all at once. So I'm going to do 4 times 19 over 2 minus 3. And I get 26. Okay, so that means that I should also get 26 for CD, and you can check that if you want. Okay, this is number 45 on page 25. So you are waiting at the end of a long straight line at Coffee Express. Your friend Denzel is r plus 12 feet in front of you. Denzel is 2r plus 4 feet away from the front of the line. If Denzel is in the exact middle of the line, how many feet away are you from the front of the line? So we're going to draw a little diagram here. So here's me. And then the other end is the front of the line. So me and front. And then Denzel, it says, is exactly halfway. So that's Denzel, D. Okay, so it tells me Denzel is r plus 12 feet in front of me. So I know from here to here is r plus 12 feet. And then from Denzel to the front, it says it is 2r plus 4 feet. And again, I know that these two are equal. These are congruent. So I'm going to put my little tick marks. And since they're congruent, I can set them equal to each other. So I have r plus 12 equals 2r plus 4. And then we're going to solve. So I'm going to start by subtracting 2r on both sides. And then I can put a 1 in front of that r. So 1r minus 2r is negative 1r. Plus 12 comes down. 2r minus 2r cancels. And then over here I have 4 left. And then I'm going to move 12 by subtracting. And then I have negative 1r. 12 minus 12 cancels. 4 minus 12 is negative 8. And then last step is divide both sides by negative 1. Oops. Those cancel, and I get r equals negative 8 divided by negative 1 is positive 8. Okay, but the question was, how many feet am I from the front of the line? So I need to know this whole distance. So I'm going to take r plus 12, and I'm going to substitute 8 in. So r plus 12, and then I'm going to substitute 8 in place of r. So 8 plus 12 is 20. Now I know if from me to Denzel is 20, and that is the same as Denzel to the front, I can just add another 20. So 20 plus 20 is going to be 40 feet. So I'm 40 feet from the front of the line. Okay, that is the end of 1.3b. Remember, in order to move on from the video, you need to get at least a 75% on the video quiz. Otherwise, you need to redo the video.